Another weekend of the college football season in the books, and another one to look forward to. Johnny Talk Sports here to provide my week 4 college football predictions. Week 3 was a nice week. We had some exciting finishes, close games, had some upsets. We had BYU upset Wisconsin on the road. We had Arizona State fall to San Diego State the week after they pulled off a big upset against Michigan State. We had LSU and Auburn come down to the last second. It literally came down to a last-second field goal. LSU wins by 1 point. So a lot of great finishes of college football this weekend. Ohio State dominated TCU. Alabama dominated Ole Miss, which we were all expecting. Oklahoma had a little bit of a challenge against Iowa State. They didn't win by as many points as they were predicted to, but they still got the job done. So, time to look forward to Week 4. I've got 10 new games to predict along with 2 bonus games. So, last week, I decided to do this. Since we had the West Virginia and NC State matchup get canceled for Hurricane Florence, and we had a bonus game get canceled as well with North Carolina and UCF, I decided to put that second bonus game in, Hawaii versus Army, in the picks. So, I put that as the 10th game. Hawaii lost, so that means I went 5-5 last week. So, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to respond this week. I'm going to respond in a big way. Let's try to get 7 or 8 wins this week. That's what I'm shooting for. Alright, so we got a nice one starting out Friday night. Florida Atlantic versus number 16 UCF. UCF is well rested because they weren't able to play last week. And Florida Atlantic, I don't know, I just feel like the Florida Atlantic hype is taken too seriously. So I'm taking UCF. I'm taking UCF by more than 3 touchdowns. I don't really know what the line is for that game, but that's probably going to be one of the picks against the spread that I consider picking this week. Next, we got number 2 Georgia versus Missouri. I don't know. I really want to say there's going to be an upset here, but Georgia has just looked dominant so far in the first 3 weeks. I think Missouri provides a challenge. I feel like Missouri's offense is going to keep them in the game for a little bit. But I just think once that second half rolls along, I think Georgia's going to pull away. I got the Bulldogs. Nebraska versus number 19 Michigan. Nebraska is 0-2 for the first time since the 1950s. Versus number 19 Michigan. Michigan, they had a kind of a bad loss in week 1 in Notre Dame, but it wasn't really a bad loss. It was just that Michigan just couldn't get the ball moving. I think Michigan will be able to get the ball moving in this matchup because Nebraska's run defense in the first 2 games so far has just been really lackluster, and I like the Wolverines to win big. Next, we have number 22 Texas A&M versus number 1 Alabama. Okay, it'd be nice if Texas A&M won this game, but I don't even think they're going to. I'm taking Alabama. I'm taking Alabama by at least maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. It'll be interesting to see if A&M even stays in the game at all, but I really doubt they will. I mean, maybe in the first half, but it doesn't really matter who they start between Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. I feel like we're going to see both of them at some point, but I feel like once the calendar turns October, Nick Saban's got to pick one and roll with it. Especially when we're getting down to the schedule, like LSU, they're looking pretty good this year so far. Once they get to the Iron Bowl, SEC Championship, the semifinal, and yes, we are assuming the national championship game. So once the start of those 5 games hits, I think Saban's got to pick one and roll with them. I got the Tide rolling. Next, we have Kansas State versus number 12 West Virginia. This is kind of a situation like it was last week. Like for UCF, they didn't get a chance to play this past weekend, and they're well rested. Although that comes with advantages and comes with disadvantages. Disadvantages, they don't really have like something to like follow up with. And advantages, you're well rested. You didn't have to worry about injuries in the last game, and your opponent doesn't have film from the game before it to look at. But I've got West Virginia win this matchup. I think it's going to be kind of a huge margin. Will Grier, the Heisman hopeful. I do think if a quarterback does win the Heisman this year, it's going to come down to him and Kyler Murray. It's going to come down to one of those two. and they're going to face off later this season. So it'll be one to see. Next, we have number 17 TCU versus Texas. TCU's coming off, well, kind of a reality check against Ohio State, losing 40-28. And Texas is coming off a big win against USC at home. So I picked Texas week 1. They lost. I picked against them last week, and they won. I'm picking TCU this week, but Texas is probably going to win this one since I went against them. So I'm going with TCU. Next, we have Army versus number 5 Oklahoma. Army's coming off a big win against Hawaii, and Oklahoma's coming off a nice road win against Iowa State. Oklahoma's offense has just looked lethal so far. I'm going with the Sooners in this matchup. I'm going to say it's going to be by about 4 touchdowns. Next, we have Florida and Tennessee. This is a nice rivalry matchup. Florida got the best out of Tennessee last year. And that, if you don't remember, that was the Hail Mary pass from Felipe Franks to Tyree Cleveland. I'm going with the Gators in this one. I just feel like you still need to see Tennessee kind of get back to where they want to be. I think Jeremy Pruitt can do it, but I just don't think it's going to be right away. I just think Dan Mullen, the quarterback whisperer. I think Florida's probably going to show off some flashes at the end of the season. So I'm going with the Gators. Number 18, Wisconsin versus Iowa. Wisconsin is trying to rebound from a heartbreaking home loss to BYU, with their college football playoff hopes most likely dashed. I don't necessarily know if they're dashed yet, but I think if they can win out and finish 11-1, win the Big Ten, I think they can get in. But it's going to be kind of difficult because they still got to play Michigan. They still got to play Iowa, and Iowa's known to deliver some trap games. And Iowa can pull up an upset any time. Assuming if they make the Big Ten championship game, they still got to play Ohio State. So it's going to be, they got to still got to play Michigan State. So it's going to be difficult for Wisconsin to get to the college football playoff. But I think they can still do it. In fact, I think any team with one loss at this point still has a chance to make the college football playoff. All they got to do is win out, and they've got a good chance to do it. So I think Wisconsin's going to win this game. But as far as getting to the college football playoff, it's kind of a long shot at this point, but it still can happen. All right, finally the game of the week. Number 7, Stanford versus number 20, Oregon. And I'm going to start off with, this is going to be a great matchup. Autzen Stadium. Are the Ducks back? And by what I mean by that, Oregon was really dominant back in the Chip Kelly era. In fact, we haven't really seen many flashes from the Oregon Ducks ever since they lost in the national championship game to Ohio State a couple of years ago. Could this be the start of the return of the Quack? I think it could be, but here's the difference in this game, though. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Bryce Love, K.J. Costello, your big three for Stanford. And you got Justin Herbert, who is going to be an NFL prospect. He's going to be a high draft pick in the next draft. In fact, he'll probably be one of the first 2 quarterbacks taken. I don't know if he's going to be first or Drew Lock's going to be, but that's kind of for another day, if we get there to that point. I think it's going to be a great matchup. I'm going to make the surprising prediction on this. It's going to be really surprising. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. In fact, I think we're going to see maybe a 3-3 deadlock at the end of the first quarter. I don't see either team scoring a touchdown in the first quarter. And of course, now that I say this, it's going to be like 14-14 at the end of the first, or like 5 minutes in the game. But I see this being a low-scoring game. I see the crowd in Autzen Stadium, one of the loudest in college football, by the way. I see it getting to Stanford early on this ball game. I see this being low-scoring. In fact, I see this being probably 10-7 at the half, or maybe 13-10 at the half. I think Stanford's going to start to pull away in the game a little bit, maybe get to about a 10-point lead. But I think in the fourth quarter, Justin Herbert and the Ducks rally to come back and force overtime. So I still think it's kind of low scoring, but we're kind of in the middle of it. So I'm guessing the Ducks are going to force overtime. and it's going to be an epic 3 overtime matchup with Stanford pulling it out in the 3rd overtime. I've got the Cardinals winning this matchup in triple overtime. So, a little bit of a long prediction, but come back to this when it happens, though. All right, finally the bonus games. We got Arizona State versus number 10 Washington. I've got the Huskies, and number 14 Mississippi State versus Kentucky. I've got Mississippi State. So those are my picks this week. Tell me your thoughts with my picks down below. Like, subscribe, and share. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful night, everyone, or day, whenever you're watching.